Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Stock Market Morning Prep video for Wednesday, August 12th. Well, we had that nice reversal on Monday, and yesterday we took it all back and then some with a big move lower with China devaluing their currency. I mentioned that yesterday in the morning call video. So I want to look and see where are we here. We're coming into monthly options expiration, so want to get a good handle on where the indicators are, where the indexes are. We are down pretty big again, a second day of China devaluing their currency, and that's really putting effect on the futures right now. The Dow futures is down about 134 points in the pre-market, as well as the ES down about 15.5 handles. Remember, aside from that Monday bounce, we've been down about 7 days in the YM, so we're getting a little bit stretched to the downside. So I want to see if we're ready for a little bit of a bounce. Now, I want to mention one thing. In options monthly expiration, we usually, and repetitive patterns repeat, we usually get some sort of a low Thursday or Friday, and then we get a bullish week going into options expiration. I'm going to get into that a little bit more as we get closer to the end of the week, and I'll show you what we're looking for as far as where we expect or anticipate where the market may be headed going into next week. But again, usually there is a bullish bias for the week. Okay, remember, large hedge funds, fund managers, they sell, they write calls and put options, and they want them to expire worthless. So it's in their best interest to keep the markets right around where they feel most of the puts and calls will expire worthless. So just keep that in mind when you're trading. Now, we are down a little bit here. Yesterday, we were looking for some sort of a neutral stance, looking for possibly to buy pullback. That did not materialize. Market sold off pretty hard, and that was pretty much it. When you had that first move lower, and then we went kind of sideways, and we kind of bounced into the close, a little bit of short covering. So let's take a look at some of the indicators here. So we have the S&P stocks above the 200-day moving average. We're getting closer to a washout area where I'd like to see this really push lower, take this little low out. You see the October lows here. We bounced pretty hard. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a nice little flush of anywhere below this 48-ish area into the 45 or the 40 handle. Okay, so let's keep an eye on that. I'll continue to monitor it and, of course, bring that to you as I see fit. Now, the bullish percent SPX, based on a point and figure chart, very, very reliable. I'm also looking for the same thing. I'm looking for a flush down into the 40 handle, 40-ish handle. Now, this indicator actually reverses quite quickly, as you can see here. I mean, when the markets rally, this thing starts to move higher, and it'll move higher rather quickly as well. You can see here we're in this downtrend line. Got this downtrend channel, if you will. I didn't draw it out, but you could see it clearly from here. Looking to break back higher. RSI is oversold, just breaking back above 30. So to me, it looks like that we may get a little bit of a short covering rally. Of course, pending any bad news that does come out of the markets. Okay, so let's keep an eye on that. But again, I'd like to see today, this morning, markets sell off into the opening real hard, and that would put some sort of a bottom in place. And I'll tell you why. We've had some large volume in the pre-market already. So when that usually happens, you get sellers kind of exhaust themselves in the pre-market, and then there's nothing but upside in the regular trading hours. So just keep that in mind as well. Okay. Let's take a look at the bullish percent energy. And I want to talk about energy. I've been watching energy. Today we have inventory reports at 10:30 Eastern time. So just make sure you're aware of that. We did get a nice little flush into the 42-ish, which I do like. I had a lot of people say, what do you think oil goes? I mean, really, nobody really knows, but I would not doubt if we hit a 40 or even an extreme of 38, 39-ish in crude oil at one time or another before the end of the year. Do I think that we're looking for some sort of a bounce? Yeah, I am looking for a bounce. We really got hit hard in crude. So I'm looking for a bounce. And the bullish percent energy, which is, again, based on a point figure chart, really is at an area where the market can bounce. Now, we're at 17. Have we gone lower? Sure. But I do think that this is an area where I think the markets are ready for a bounce. So that being said, let's take a look at Well, let's take a look. Give you the McClellan oscillator. You can see you really have no change. So we still have further room to run to the downside before we get really oversold. Okay, but let's get back to some of the energy plays. I'm really liking some of these charts, like the EOG, SLB is looking really good. But again, we have a nice base that's forming, and we could see that RSI starting to rally, and we had a nice little crossover in our MACD. So we do have a little positive divergence forming at these lows here. Okay, does it mean that it goes higher? You are still in a downtrend, guys. To alleviate a lot of this pressure, you really need to get back above, at least above the 50-day moving average in here. But again, if you're a longer-term trader and you want to look to sort of build a position, this is something that you might want to take a look at. COP, ConocoPhillips, great Canadian exposure. This has been heavily in a downtrend. You could see that pretty much all of 2015. Nice little base here. You could see that we're just about getting across in the MACD, and RSI is starting to break back above 30. So these are something that looks really good. I really like it better above 50-50 on a closing basis. That'll at least give us that base building that we have here, and then at least the first target would be the 52-57. But those are just some of the quick oil plays that I'm looking for. All right, let's take a look at the indexes. You can see what a big mess. We should open down somewhere in the 200 yet again. And this is what's scary, guys, right? We had this. We broke down. We held. We broke. We held. We broke down. We came right back up. We touched it and held. Touched it and held again. We're probably going to touch it again this morning. As you all know, you start banging on that door and hitting that door on a consistent basis, eventually hinges are going to give way. So this tells me that even more of my longer-term analysis that I've been discussing, looking for some sort of a beginning of a pullback, then blowing into a full-phase correction, September, October, is getting better and better. But again, we want to get closer to at the end of August, September, and see where the markets are headed, because we want to let the markets tell us what to do, right? Not just me anticipating and assuming that the markets are going to correct. Okay, we don't want to do that. But remember, right now we've had some weakness, and I am looking for some sort of a low going into either today, tomorrow, or Friday, and putting that short-term low intact going into next week. And then after options expiration's over, then we could start revisiting where the market may be headed the next 3 or 4 weeks, okay? Let's take a look at the IWM. Bear flag, not a good sign. You could see here bearish symmetry. We have lower lows and lower highs. We do have this downtrend line. It needs to get back above the 200 at the very least to alleviate some of this downside pressure. But we have a bear flag here. We'll probably open below this. That would confirm this new bear flag, and then we'll have to see where we're headed. We'll put some Fibonacci numbers here to see where the next target would be. Diamonds, you can see here as well. Nothing good to say about it. We took whatever we took back on Monday, we gave back on Tuesday, and then some. And now this morning, we're going to probably test this low here from Friday. Okay. Then we have the transports. Now, surprisingly, the transports have held up pretty well. Still this inside day from this big gap lower on Friday. But again, still holding above this downtrend channel, this downtrend line, excuse me. And we're going to really need to see this thing start to move higher again. Otherwise, we start seeing leaders breaking down, such as the transports and the IWM. We're going to have a big problem with the market. And also, some of the bigger leaders like Apple is starting to break down, which is heavily weighted in a lot of the ETFs across equities here. You're going to see that pressure build as well, okay? Take a look at our last chart would be the Qs. And again, Qs and technology holding up relatively well. But again, we're basically clinging on to the 50-day moving average. Next target would be this lower trend line support, and then a 200-day moving average. But again, guys, let's keep an eye on those indicators. I am looking for some sort of a low, whether it be today, tomorrow, or Friday, going into options expiration. So I am just going to step aside today and see where this market is headed before we make any type of decisions. We'll see what the market brings first thing in the morning, see how the price action holds up, and then we'll start looking to pick a direction. We'll let the markets really decide which direction it wants to go today. Right now, obviously, it's lower, and I'm not looking to catch a falling knife here. We are extended, so the shorts here also needs to be very careful, as well as the long. So that tells me, let me step aside for the first 15 minutes, half hour, and see where this market's headed. Have a great day, everybody. We'll speak to you tomorrow. Take care.